Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to be looking at its valuation with respect to fiat as well as with respect to Bitcoin. So if you guys like the content, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel in the description below. I should also mention we do have a premium list if you want to get on that. Just go to intothecryptoverse.com. So let's go ahead and jump in. So one of the things we've talked about, right, is the idea that, and if you're new to the channel, I'm going over this for you. If you've been here a while, my apologies for the repetition, but I promise there is going to be some new content in this video. But one of the things we've talked about before with Ethereum is that when Bitcoin gets above the 20-week moving average, it tends to perform well. And if you go back and look at Bitcoin, let's scroll all the way back to let's say 2016. Again, this is where Bitcoin held the 20-week moving average as support that first quarter, and then this is where Ethereum took off. So this is what we're looking for, right? Now, going to present day with Bitcoin, we've gotten above the 20-week moving average. So we got above it a few weeks ago. And since then, we've crossed a different milestone as well. We've gotten above the 50-week moving average. Now, the 50-week moving average we haven't talked about as extensively on the channel. We have talked about it some. You know, it does tend to provide some level of support and some level of resistance, as we've seen before. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go back into our typical analysis of Ethereum, but this time it's going to look slightly different. So first, you know, many of you guys are familiar with this. This is just the price of Ethereum when Bitcoin is above the 20-week moving average and when Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average. So with respect to fiat, every time that Bitcoin has gone above the 20-week moving average, and then if you had been cashed out once Bitcoin went below, then you would have seen a profit. This is just historically speaking. Obviously, past results don't mean anything about the future, but we can at least use the past to inform our decisions. And you can see when Bitcoin is below the 20-week moving average, Ethereum tends to perform poorly. But I just showed you guys another milestone that Bitcoin has crossed, and at the time of this video, we're holding it. Now, we may not hold the 50-week. Bitcoin may decide, you know, it's going to go back down to the 20-week and test that. But what if we hold it? So this is like, what if we hold it? So this, we're going to toggle here. So this is the first chart. This is just the 20-week. This one is showing when Bitcoin is above the 20-week and the 50-week, what is Ethereum doing? And then the blue is if it's below either of them. So red is above both. Okay, so let's go back to just being above the 20-week. You can see that when Bitcoin was above the 20-week early on, Ethereum bled for a few days before taking off. Here, once Bitcoin was above the 20-week and the 50-week, Ethereum pretty quickly took off. Again, if you look over in this region, you know, Ethereum didn't really do a whole lot early on, but once Bitcoin was above the 20-week and the 50-week, it moved up a lot quicker, and then the same thing here, it moved up a lot quicker. Now, I still stand by the 20-week. I think it's a good metric, but you know, there is a way to dig into the data a little bit more, like by looking at you know, different moving averages and how they relate to one another. And this is just one idea I had, was, you know, noticing that, okay, we're holding support on the 50-week for the time being. Is there any historical indication as to what Ethereum has done when Bitcoin is both above the 20-week and the 50-week moving average? So the price is very bullish based on those moving averages. And you can see, again, that when it's above both, Ethereum has tended to perform well. Now, again, you know, there's no indication yet that Bitcoin will hold the 50-week moving average, and the 50-week moving average is, you know, it's not too far away from where we currently are on our Bitcoin chart. I mean, we're only about $100 or $200 above the 50-week moving average at the time of this video. So if we were to break that, then the color coding would quickly turn back to blue on this chart. So, you know, just remember that is a possibility. You know, there was a time over here, you can see a small data point. There's been times where we would have had a couple data points, maybe and then realized it was more or less a fake out. Because I can assure you that if Bitcoin drops below the 50-week and then also drops below the 20-week, then Ethereum, the valuation of Ethereum will likely bleed as well. Now, this is not financial advice. This is just my own perspective looking at these historical patterns. So again, Bitcoin's above the 20-week and the 50-week as we speak. And while, if you look in the past, when it's above both, in the short term, Ethereum tends to see a move up. Because really, there's only three main times where you can see that this has happened. Here, and you can see the initial move. Here, and then we had a move. So we had it in 2016, in 2018, or sorry, not 2018, 2019, so 2016, 2019, and then in 2020, and this is the second time in 2020. So the question, right, is are we going to see another move even like this? And I think the case becomes better the longer that Bitcoin can stay above the 50-week moving average and also stay above the 20-week. So the longer that Bitcoin can stay above these and remain bullish, then I think there's a more likely chance that Ethereum will break out. Now, here's the same chart, but this time we're looking at the valuation of Ethereum with respect to Bitcoin, not fiat. And again, this is the 20-week only. So red is above the 20-week. This is when Bitcoin is above the 20-week. We're plotting Ethereum in red, and this is Ethereum, the Ethereum ratio with respect to Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin's below the 20-week, you can see that it's in blue. Okay, so again, when Bitcoin's below the 20-week, the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio tends to bleed, and when it's above the 20-week, it tends to outperform it, but not always. I mean, here was a time where it did not outperform. But let's apply the same methodology. What if we say above the 20-week and the 50-week? So here you can see when Bitcoin first got above the 20-week, okay, so Bitcoin first got above it, the valuation of Ethereum to Bitcoin bled for a few days, maybe a week or so, before spiking, all right? Because this is just the 20-week, and then if you add on the 50, you can see that once we got above the 50, once Bitcoin got above the 50, this is when the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio started moving. And in fact, in present times, like present day, Bitcoin is above the 50-week and the 20-week now, and it does seem like at least the last day or so that Ethereum has started moving with respect to Bitcoin. And I think this will likely continue as long as Bitcoin can hold this level. So, I mean, if Bitcoin doesn't hold the level at the 50-week moving average and then it drops back down to the 20 and then below that, then clearly we're kicking the can down the road, in terms of a prospective Ethereum breakout. But it's actually quite interesting how, immediately once Bitcoin got above the 20-week and the 50-week, Ethereum broke out, not only with respect to fiat, but with respect to Bitcoin. Again, there was this time over here in 2020. You can see earlier this year, many of you guys lived through this because we even spoke about it on the channel back in December. We said that we would expect a move of Ethereum Bitcoin in the first quarter based off historical patterns, and that's exactly what we got. The only time that it really wouldn't have worked out with respect to Bitcoin would have been during 2019. You can see that the value of Ethereum continued to bleed with respect to Bitcoin, but at the same time, Bitcoin was going from like $4,000 to $14,000 over a few months. So right now, what we want to see for Ethereum to really break out, we kind of want to see Bitcoin chill out a little bit. Because when Bitcoin moves, the rest of the market tends to stand still and watch what's happening. Like if you look at the covariance between Ethereum and Bitcoin, they don't really tend to move together on the same day. If Bitcoin moves, then it's kind of moving in a league of its own, and then once it settles down and remains, say, bullish, and it's holding key levels of support, that's when other coins can move. And many of you who hold other coins, like let's say you have your portfolio of altcoins, I'm sure you've noticed that many of them have been performing very well the last few days. So keep this in mind. Once you live through the market cycles long enough, you really start to observe this pattern over and over and over again. And there's so many, there's a lot of people that say, well, why would I hold Bitcoin when I can hold Ethereum if the ROI on Ethereum is a lot greater? Well, I mean, it's all about timing, right? So Bitcoin will likely make a move to $20,000 at some point, and the rest of the market will sit still and watch. And again, it'll likely make a move to $100,000 at some point, and this is probably years from now, and the market will sit by and watch. And you don't necessarily just want to be in 20 other coins if Bitcoin is doing a 3 or 4x. So this is the reasoning. I wanted to quickly remind you before I show you the last thing that if you want to join the premium list, then go to intothecryptoverse.com. So we do we have premium videos. So if you guys like these videos and want to see more of them, we have premium videos, and there's plenty that you can go watch once you sign up. You can get caught up on, and we look at things like, historically speaking, what's the best day to buy Ethereum and Bitcoin. We look at, break down risk analysis for these different coins. We have a lot of things that we do with the videos. We also have a weekly report that I publish, and again, it's data science using these mathematical models that I have, or analyzing the markets. So the newsletter, the report, is called the Quantitative Investor. People seem to like it because when I publish the report, I publish a video to go with it, so that you can kind of follow along with my thought process. So please go ahead and sign up if you want. You can buy access to the premium list. If you want a discount, you can pay with cryptocurrency, and you can either pay with 6 to 12 months. And if you do, you'll get either like a 5 or 10% discount. If you pay for 12 months, I think you get a little bit more than a 10% discount. But a lot of people have had a lot of good things to say. You can go to the website and check out some of the feedback there is. So please check that out if you guys like the content and want to be along for the journey from my perspective through this market cycle. Because one of the things I want to point out is this market cycle will likely take a few more years, and if you miss out on key opportunities during this market cycle, then the next one, where you could see somewhat commensurate gains similar to this one, might not be for another 7 years or so. So please take it seriously. If you want access to the premium list, then check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com, and I will look forward to seeing you there. And then you'll obviously get a welcome email with access to all prior reports, as well as all prior premium videos. You also get access to a Google Sheets document that gives you basically like a dashboard to watch for various live risk levels of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a few other coins. So please check it out. We'd love to have you. The last thing I wanted to talk about is quickly, we're just going to look at the logarithmic regression band. So this is the primary regression band for Ethereum. And when I first made this band, I made it, months and months ago. And I told people at the time, I don't know how accurate it is because I just don't have a whole lot of data to go on. We only have one market cycle for Ethereum. So the validity of the regression band is obviously somewhat called into question until we have more data. It's possible that if Ethereum moves sideways for the rest of the year, then, fitting into this data in here might not make a whole lot of sense. It might make more sense to just fit the regression band this way. The issue is right now I don't have enough data to really know where our primary support region is, like I do with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's been around for 11 years. There's a ton of data to have some level of confidence. So again, when you see this in the future, it's possible that I may refit it if I have a reason to do so. At present time, this is what seems like it's basically the support region. So if you're buying within this region, then the idea is that at some point we'll see a speculative bubble where we break out of the region. And also is the reason why I think, and we have another video on this, by 2023, I think it's going to be overvalued. We're going to see a speculative bubble where Ethereum is going to be overvalued by about 900 to 1,000% compared at least to this regression band. And if it is, that would put Ethereum at around 5 figures, with a fair valuation at around $1,000. So, I mean, I know these numbers can seem insane. Again, Ethereum used to be pennies on the dollar. I mean, it was like 30, 40 cents. So if you think about the move from 30 or 40 cents to $1,400, and then you say a move from 200 to 10,000 is impossible, then just look what's happened in the past, and know that it is possible. It doesn't have to happen by any means, but it is possible. And if it does happen, and you're sitting on the sideline, you're sitting on the sidelines, and you just think that because it happened once, it can't happen again, then you're the only. I mean, you can only blame yourself. Because while I agree, there's a huge risk to holding cryptocurrencies. There's a risk to holding Bitcoin. There's a risk to holding Ethereum. There's also a huge risk in not holding them. Because if they are, if Ethereum does become, this major backbone of cryptocurrency, which I mean it already is, but if it continues along that route, then if you were in cryptocurrency at the time, people might say, well, how come you didn't purchase Ethereum? And you'd have to think of a reason, because from my perspective, it is one of the coins that I'm definitely the most bullish on over the next few years. Now, again, there is no guarantee. I mean, this is not financial advice. Obviously, Ethereum could theoretically crash. We don't know. But what we do know is, if we look at historical patterns, again, when Bitcoin is above the 20-week and 50-week moving average, Ethereum, sometimes it performs well with Bitcoin, sometimes not so much. But at least with respect to fiat, we tend to see a decent move in the short term. So we'll continue to see if this plays out. If you're curious whether or not it would continue to play out, then I would suggest following what Bitcoin is doing, because Bitcoin is the market mover. If you see Bitcoin holding the level at the 50-week and even maybe slowly moving back up to 10K, then I think there's going to be a lot more confidence that comes back to Ethereum. And I think Ethereum, like with many other coins, is essentially waiting for validation from Bitcoin to say, okay, guys, we're getting the party started. This is the bull run for the next few years. Go ahead and jump on board while the tickets are cheap. And we haven't fully reached that signal yet. And once we do, whether it's in May of 2020, whether it happens, if this is a fake out and we don't see the move until, say, 2021, it's irrelevant. The focus of this channel, again, is not short-term price predictions, but the macro scale. So if you're continuing to dollar cost average your way into Ethereum, at least, while we're in this regression band, then you're probably doing pretty well. And the only reason you might not be is if you just started purchasing Ethereum in the first quarter of 2020, which is when we thought we would see a move. I mean, that's why I was saying in 2019 that I think Ethereum is likely going to see a 2 to 5x in the first quarter, and there are videos to show that. We saw about a 2.5x in Q1. So if you guys like the content, again, please subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you. We also have the public Telegram group. You can see it's just t.me/into cryptoverse. So there's a link to that in the description below. And then finally, if you really like this analysis that I provide and want more access to it, you can always, again, check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. Get access to a weekly newsletter, a premium video every single week. We also, if you didn't read it, we also have Ethereum letters. It's like I think it's like at least 10 or 15 page report on Ethereum that I did in February, where we look at all sorts of quantitative analysis. So that'll be there too. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye.